Imagine shutting down your truck tonight in the middle of nowhere. No city lights. No truck stop. No heated garage. Just you. A frozen highway. And minus 30 degrees outside. By morning your windows are completely frozen. Your breath hangs in the air like smoke. The steel walls around you feel like a giant freezer. Now ask yourself one question. Could you survive the night? Because every single winter thousands of truck drivers do exactly that across Canada, Alaska, Scandinavia, and even Siberia. But here is what most people never realize. They are not surviving because they are lucky. They are surviving because their trucks are hiding engineering secrets that almost nobody talks about. Today we are taking you inside one of the greatest winter survival systems ever built. Welcome back to Trucks United. I am Jeremy. And by the end of this video you will never look at a sleeper truck or the people who drive them the same way again. Most people think sleeping inside a truck is basically camping with a heater. The reality is far more extreme. At minus 30 degrees Celsius the outside air becomes deadly. That is around minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit. At temperatures like these, exposed skin can begin freezing within minutes. A simple mechanical failure can quickly turn into a life-threatening emergency. And here is the part that surprises almost everyone. The moment a truck engine shuts off, the countdown begins. Unlike a house, a truck cab is not built with thick residential insulation. It is surrounded by metal panels, large glass windows, and countless tiny gaps where freezing air constantly tries to force its way inside. Every minute the warmth disappears. Hour by hour the cabin temperature drops. Then another problem begins. The driver's own breath creates moisture that freezes onto the inside of the windows. By sunrise the windshield can be covered with a thick layer of ice from the inside. Imagine waking up inside a frozen steel box. Your fingers are numb. Your windshield is completely white. Outside the world is still buried in darkness. If the heating system fails, the situation can become dangerous much faster than most people realize. That is why modern sleeper trucks are engineered very differently from ordinary vehicles. They are not just built to transport freight. They are built to protect human life. Manufacturers like Volvo, Scania, Kenworth, Peterbilt, and Freightliner spend millions designing sleeper cabs capable of handling some of the harshest winters on Earth. Today's sleeper cabs use advanced thermal insulation hidden inside the walls, roof, and floor to slow heat loss. The windows are thicker than those found in older trucks. Many premium models even use insulated double-pane glass to reduce condensation and keep warmth inside. Scandinavian manufacturers go even further. Since companies like Volvo and Scania were born in countries where brutal winters are part of everyday life, cold weather survival has always been part of their engineering philosophy. Even something as simple as a door seal becomes critical. At minus 30 degrees, the tiniest air leak can allow freezing drafts to steal valuable heat from the cabin. That is why modern trucks use multi-layer rubber sealing systems that lock the doors tightly against the cold. Even the location of the sleeper bunk is not accidental. It is positioned at the very back of the cab, the warmest and most protected area, far away from the windshield and entrance doors where the greatest heat loss occurs. Nothing about that design is random. It is survival by engineering. But even the best insulation has limits. Sooner or later you need heat. The easiest solution is obvious. Leave the engine running. A large diesel engine produces an enormous amount of heat which flows through the heater core and warms the entire cabin within minutes. Simple, effective, but incredibly expensive. A heavy-duty diesel engine can burn between 2 and 4 liters of fuel every hour while idling. Leave it running every night throughout winter, and the fuel bill climbs into thousands of dollars. And in many places it is illegal. Anti-idling laws across North America were introduced to reduce pollution, fuel waste, and unnecessary engine wear. So the trucking industry had to find a smarter answer. That is when one of the greatest inventions in modern trucking arrived. The auxiliary power unit, better known as the APU. If you have ever noticed a small box mounted behind a sleeper cab or underneath the frame, you have probably seen one without realizing it. An APU is essentially a miniature diesel engine with one purpose: keeping the truck alive while the main engine sleeps. It provides cabin heat, electricity, battery charging power for appliances, and even air conditioning during summer, all while consuming only a fraction of the fuel. Instead of burning several liters every hour, many APUs use roughly 1 liter or even less. For trucking companies operating hundreds of vehicles, that translates into massive savings every winter. But there is one problem. Like every machine, APUs can fail. And every veteran truck driver has probably experienced or heard about that one freezing night when an APU suddenly stopped working hundreds of miles from the nearest town. Fortunately, modern trucking has another weapon. One that is even more efficient. Diesel parking heaters. Names like Webasto and Aspar have become legendary among winter drivers. These compact heaters are roughly the size of a shoebox. But do not let their size fool you. Inside they burn tiny amounts of diesel taken directly from the truck fuel tank. The heat is transferred into the sleeper while exhaust gases remain safely outside. The result: a warm cabin using only about 0.2 to 0.5 liters of fuel every hour. That is an incredible improvement over leaving the main engine running all night. Across Scandinavia, diesel parking heaters are not considered luxury equipment. They are considered essential survival tools. Without them, winter trucking would become dramatically more dangerous and far more expensive. Technology alone does not keep drivers alive. Experience does. Ask any veteran trucker, and they will tell you winter survival starts long before bedtime. Professional drivers prepare for freezing nights almost like mountaineers preparing for an expedition. Their bedding is not ordinary. Many carry heavy thermal blankets, multiple insulated layers, and sleeping bags rated for temperatures as low as -30 degrees. Because they know something every experienced trucker understands. Never rely on only one heating system. If the heater stops working, that sleeping bag may become the difference between discomfort and hypothermia. Clothing matters too. Thermal base layers. Insulated socks. Warm hats. Even while sleeping. New drivers often underestimate winter. Experienced drivers never make that mistake twice. Another important habit is preheating the cabin before going to bed. Starting the night with a warm interior allows the parking heater to maintain temperature much more efficiently throughout the night. Fuel management is another hidden challenge. Extreme cold can cause diesel fuel to thicken into a gel-like consistency. If that happens, fuel flow stops, and so does the heater. That is why truckers operating in northern climates depend on winter diesel blends and anti-gel additives designed specifically for freezing temperatures. Every small detail matters, because winter never forgives mistakes. Despite all these systems, danger never completely disappears. If cabin heat is lost during extreme cold, temperatures inside can fall rapidly. Hypothermia becomes a real threat. But cold is not the only invisible enemy. Carbon monoxide can be just as deadly. Improper engine idling, blocked exhaust pipes, or heavy snow buildup can allow dangerous exhaust gases to enter the sleeper. The frightening part: carbon monoxide has no color, no smell, no warning. That is why many professional truck drivers keep carbon monoxide detectors inside the cab at all times. Meanwhile, the truck itself is fighting the cold. Batteries lose a significant amount of starting power. Engine oil thickens. Diesel engines become harder to crank. Rubber components stiffen. Everything works harder. To fight back, drivers often use engine block heaters, battery blankets, and fuel heaters before shutting down for the night. Because nobody wants to wake up in the middle of nowhere with a truck that will not start. Here is something many people outside the trucking world never realize. In many states and Canadian provinces, letting a truck idle all night simply is not allowed. Strict anti-idling regulations changed the entire industry. Ironically, those rules forced manufacturers to create better heating technology. Without those regulations, APUs and modern diesel parking heaters might never have evolved as quickly as they did. Sometimes pressure creates innovation. Now the industry faces an entirely new challenge: electric trucks. Cold weather already reduces battery performance dramatically. Heating a sleeper cab through an entire winter night requires enormous energy. That means every hour spent staying warm also reduces driving range. Manufacturers are developing advanced heat pumps, improved insulation, and smarter battery management systems. But today, when temperatures plunge to minus 30 degrees, diesel heating technology still remains incredibly difficult to replace. So how do truck drivers survive sleeping in temperatures cold enough to freeze engines solid? The answer is not one single invention. It is a complete survival system. Advanced insulation, thermally engineered sleeper cabs, diesel parking heaters, auxiliary power units, emergency winter gear, cold weather routines, and years of hard-earned experience passed from one driver to another. From the outside it looks impossible. From the inside it is one of the greatest examples of practical engineering you will ever find. Because while millions of people sleep comfortably in warm homes, thousands of truck drivers spend the night inside steel cabs surrounded by ice and darkness, keeping grocery stores stocked, hospitals supplied, factories running, and entire countries moving through the worst winter weather imaginable. That deserves respect. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Trucks United for more deep-dive trucking documentaries and behind-the-scenes engineering stories. If you have ever spent a night driving through extreme winter conditions, share your experience in the comments below. Stay safe. Keep the wheels turning. Thanks for watching.